All right, YouTube, welcome back. It's the host, Bandit-thief, but you can just call me Bandit. And I actually appreciate the love I received on the last video. I actually got 2 likes and 30 views on it, and it was actually very inspiring. I'm glad that the video got to people, it got into the algorithm, and the fact that despite it being my first video and I was very awkward in it, it got to people. And maybe some of you listened to the whole thing. Maybe some of you didn't like how the delivery came out, but I'm learning, and I absolutely plan on doing better, especially this video. Less rambling, more letting the video play out, more thought out points where I just, speak my mind a little bit clearer. And yeah, I'd like to address the fact that I received a comment on the video speaking about the timing of it. And the timing is actually pretty interesting. The Tate brothers got arrested on, I believe, some charges of CSAM, which is the exploitation material for, the no stuff. And I just want to say to the commenter or whoever believes this to be true that just because the timing of the matter and the Tate brothers getting arrested, that absolutely has nothing to do with the claims and ideas of the manosphere. Like I'm saying before, I'm not a manosphereite. I'm not red pill. I wouldn't necessarily put that on me. I'm not going to rep it. But the fact that these ideas, exist in this vacuum and some people grab them, they're like, these are actually good ideas. We need to embrace good ideas from people who may be good or may be bad. The ideas are what they are. They should be independent from the person. The Tate brothers getting arrested, I mean, good for them. They should be in jail and prosecuted. Not necessarily coming in and saying, oh, I'm going to protect them and say different. Absolutely not. But let's get back to the video. I believe we're going to start off at the second question. And like I said, I don't necessarily agree with our Mark Manson here, but I'm just going to start off the video. Pretty long intro, but yeah, let's get into it.
Ability for your life.
Right, but it's if they're promoting self-account, doesn't matter. Hello,
Hi,
nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. Okay, so personally, I do feel like a woman's body count does matter
Why is that?
because it's her value. I feel like if something's used, there's no value to it. It's just, I don't want to like be mean, but it's dirty.
Do you believe that women have value outside of their body and their sexuality?
Of course. Yeah, of course. A woman can be smart and still sleep with a bunch of men, but why not be the whole package? Respect your body. It's your temple. It's a part of who you are, so respect it.
Well, that's interesting, actually. Why do you think it's disrespectful for a woman to sleep with multiple men?
Because you're allowing different energies onto you.
What if they're in committed, loving relationships? What if it's been like a long series of 2-3 year relationships over?
Okay, I'm going to interject here. And this is kind of why I don't like Jubilee videos, because sometimes the guests just get on here and say absolutely nothing of value. She says body count does matter because it lowers women's value. What is value? What is the quantity of value that we're evaluating here? It doesn't make any sense. More sleeping with more men doesn't make a woman less valuable. I agree with that. And he's kind of taking it somewhere where it's like, what if these relationships are in controlled environments where value is assumed? And I get where it's going, but I'm pretty sure he was waiting for someone to come on and say something about value, and she pretty much took the bait. It's not a good argument.
10-15 years.
Well, then you wouldn't be dating a bunch of people. You wouldn't be sleeping with a bunch of people if you're committed. So,
But you would have a high body count, right?
to me, I feel like a high body count is realistically maybe over 4.
And he kind of air quoted it because he thinks it doesn't matter. If someone's been in like 5 relationships that were 2 to 3 years, I'd actually be more scared than if a woman was in relationships for like 2 months and she had three of those. Because in time investment, it just teaches me that she doesn't value time. And 5 times for 2 years, there's not enough love in the world. Like after like maybe two, I'm done. And if she's doing it, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. That's just me mirroring my values onto my partner. But let's keep going.
4 or 5. So when I think high body count, I'm thinking you're sleeping around, you're having one night stands. I respect it. You know, that's where agree to disagree comes into play.
Sure.
But me personally, it's self-control. Be mentally strong enough to say no. Be mentally strong enough to stick to one person. Yeah.
That's a totally valid preference. My argument is that a body count it's just one piece of data. And I think it's a pretty arbitrary piece of data because people change. They have complicated life stories. You know, maybe you're a party girl in your 20s and then you settle down and get serious, you know, in your late 20s. Maybe you've gone through a bunch of shit, you know, had a hard upbringing. So you have to address the
And see, you see how he's belittling the fact that the past matters, because the past does matter. And here's an example. If someone's in relationships repeatedly, and let's say they're abusive relationships, let's say they're dysfunctional relationships, that past matters because you're mostly made up of your past. People judge that. If you go to a job interview and you said you worked here and you worked there and you worked there, and they all say that you were an insubordinate worker, then they're not going to hire you. They're going to judge you off of that past. And most likely, if they hire you, who's to say they're not going to be one of the ones left too? You get what I mean? And this guy comes in and says it's arbitrary data, when in reality, most of any institution worth any salt that's accepting applicants is going to look at your past, is going to look at these things that you've done before and judge you on that. And that's not a preference thing. It's not something that people choose to fucking do. Absolutely not. This dude's just kind of flattening it, and it sounds like pandering, because there's no real reason for you to say that it doesn't matter or to rate it.
individual in front of you, not just the number. Do you disagree with that?
That's a good opinion, but I stand firm on mine. Nobody should all have a piece of you. I wouldn't want somebody to hear, yeah, I had your girl. Yeah,
Okay,
I got, you know?
We got to pause there. You've been voted out by the majority.
Okay.
Please return to your seat.
Thank you.
See, just a poor guest. But whatever. They got her out quick.
How you doing?
Hi,
Nice to meet you.
great to meet you. I'm Michael. So when you say a woman's body count doesn't matter, I just wanted to ask if there are any conditions or qualifiers to that, or do you literally mean it doesn't matter? Whether if she's a virgin or if she slept with 197 people just last month, it's totally irrelevant to everything. You shouldn't take it into consideration at all.
I mean, obviously, some people are going to have certain value. Like if you're religious, for instance, or if you have like certain social beliefs. My point around this specifically, if I'm going to clarify the
No, answer his question. He's asking if it's relative. He's asking if one body, 10 bodies, 100 bodies, does it get progressively worse? Does it get to a point where you say that's weird? And you see how he's kind of changing that? Because in reality, I'm pretty sure he's like, well, once you get past 20, it's fucking weird.
claim is that it matters if you're a single man and you're meeting a woman, on the list of things that you should be concerned about, that you should be worried about, it is so low on that list that you shouldn't even think about it. You should be primarily concerned is she trustworthy? Do you communicate well? Is she fun to be around? Do you have shared values? Do you see yourselves going long-term together? What she's done in the past is a very, very tiny, tiny factor in all of those things.
Yeah, so
What she's done in the past doesn't matter. What if she killed someone? What if she robbed a bank? What if she has like a gang tattoo and she was a gang affiliate and she's not a gang affiliate anymore? You see how the past kind of does matter? But whatever.
So I think that that's interesting, but I would say that I think that there's a lot of evidence to suggest that body count and sleeping around and having a lot of sexual partners and experiences actually directly relates to a lot of those traits that you mentioned. So I'm specifically thinking about a study or meta-analysis from the University of Utah, which found that the more sort of sexual history that you have, the more body counts that you have, the higher the predictability of divorce is. So I think that the specific study that I'm referencing, if the woman slept with, let's say, over 10 women, is what I think it was, that cohort had by far the highest divorce rate or predictability of divorce. And I think that that's pretty intuitive, right? Like if I had a wife and you had a wife, and my wife slept with 3 women and your wife slept with 40 women, and we're hanging out, and let's say the pool guy comes over and he's going to open up our pool. Whose wife do you think has a higher likelihood when the pool guy's 18-pack is out? Whose wife do you think has the higher?
See, and this is where I kind of have to disagree with the guest because his argument is pretty ass. He's kind of insinuating that high body count is directly linked to high promiscuity, and I just don't agree with that at all. I think body count is just a past thing. Some people either accept that past or don't. That's it. And he's going into this big deep dive about it, bringing up this research study, and it's like, dude, if I hear that you've slept with 10 people, we're not even getting married. He's talking about someone who's married someone with 10 bodies. Who gives a fuck what he thinks? That sounds goofy already. But let's keep going.
Higher likelihood of sleeping with the pool guy. It's a little bit obvious, right? That the answer is the woman with 40 plus bodies. And I think that makes sense, right? They have more sexual experience. They have more things that they're using.
Yeah, even she's like, man, that makes no fucking sense. And she didn't make any sense when she was talking. But let's skip his part. He pretty much says that the study between 3 and 9 partners for the women, they actually had the lowest rate, which, like I said, it doesn't even correlate to what the fuck I'm talking about. When I talk about high body count and it being trash, it's based off of the past, not results. I wouldn't even marry someone to find out. You know what I mean?
How you doing, man?
Jamari.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. Okay. So a woman's body count does not matter. If we both go to a used car lot, one car is totaled, one car has the engine blown out twice, head gasket never works, always has to be replaced.
See, and I'm not gonna skip his part, but this is where the body count argument also falls apart, and he's probably like fucking rubbing his hands together like, oh yeah, I'm ready to fucking counter this shit, because it's a terrible argument. People aren't cars. Women aren't cars. You don't occur damage from sleeping with people. You don't. I don't believe so, at least. Carfax exists. If he's talking about Carfax and you're talking about, yeah, this car's been in an accident and it's had the heater core replaced, and it's not factory heater core. You get what I mean? It matters. Because the past happens, you know what I'm saying? We try to cover up the past, and we come in, we cover up our tattoos and say we didn't work here or whatever. The past matters.
Another car has a fender bender. Which one you taking?
I reject the analogy because
Why?
it presupposes that there's something about sex that is destructive.
I hate to pause here again. He doesn't engage in anybody's argument. Have we noticed that?
To a body. I actually think a better version of that analogy is if you just bought the first car you ever test drove, how likely are you going to be satisfied with that car versus if you go out and test drive 5, 6, 7 cars, get an understanding of their features, what you like about them, what you don't like, then you're able to make a much better informed decision.
Yeah, well, his analogy kind of sucks because your first car is always going to be your favorite. The current car that you're driving is going to be your favorite, but you're going to remember the first car because the first car came when you had no car. It took you to work the first time. It took you to your first date. It took you to your first prom. I'm pretty sure everybody's partner is like that as well. When you've had your first experience with your first partner, you don't beat that. And he's assuming that the value, quote unquote, is from trying out multiple cars and testing out the features and all that. Dude, my favorite car is probably the van that I had when I was 18, and it's gone. It's long gone. I fucking threw it away. But I remember every first that I had in it. I'm emotionally attached to it. Now, if he doesn't believe in emotional attachment, then what are we arguing with? Because he's not engaging in anybody else's argument. They're just spitting opinions here. But nobody's putting their fucking foot down and saying, dude, I don't value body count like that because, or I value body count because. I'll come in there and say, because the past fucking matters.
So again, which one would you rather take? The one that's had all these problems, or the one that's had the fender bender?
I told you I reject the analogy.
Okay, so we're gonna test drive 6 different cars, 7 different cars.
Sure.
8, 9, 20? Why can't we just stick with our one car?
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
A lot of men treat body count as a proxy for trust, right? And so what I ask guys is I say, imagine 2 women. One of them is a virgin. She has 0 sexual experience.
Fender bender.
Sure, fender bender. But you catch her lying to you, she doesn't keep her word, she's unreliable. And then there's a woman who, let's say she's been with, I don't know, 10 guys,
Sure.
whatever. But she's honest with you, she always shows up when she says she's gonna show up, she does what she says she's gonna do, she's very loving, she's very caring, she's never broken your trust once. Which one is likely to be a better partner?
The first one. Because if she's had 10 different partners, or why she had 10 different relationships, why haven't those worked out?
Well, you would have to ask her that and find out.
Right.
Because people are complicated and they have different life stories.
Right.
Yes, because a woman has been in 10 relationships and she's perfect. And that doesn't raise any flags. Bruh, this dude's analogy fucking sucks ass. Yeah, a virgin can be an asshole, but to say that someone with 10 bodies is going to be like a decent partner and trustworthy and all of this, and dude, she should have been secured by number 3, right? She wouldn't even exist. And this dude made a point, you know, sitting all cocky thinking that the fucking analogy he had before made sense. Like, whatever, man.
So let's ask a question here. If a woman asks me, what do I do for work? How tall am I? How much do I bring in home? Why can I ask you, what's your body count? You have standards. Why can't I have a standard?
Standards are fine, but I think all of those things that you just listed are arbitrary standards. And if I was surrounded by...
Yes, height, money, what you do for work, arbitrary. So if you're 5'4", you make $20K a year, and you fucking mop up the bathroom at Burger King, it's all arbitrary, according to this guy, who was a dating coach and got paid to get people dates. It doesn't matter. Dude, you sound stupid. I'm going to skip this part just to get to the other guy. This guy spoke long enough.
Body count doesn't matter to the way that people think about it.
Okay.
There's no dickometer in front of the top of a woman's vagina that tells you how many thrusts per minute that she's had, right? So let's talk about.
true.
There is. I mean, I haven't seen one.
We agree on that.
Okay, cool. But let's talk about what a sexual risk does talk about. Every time you have sex, you're putting yourself in a very risky situation, right? A woman is getting penetrated. A man is having his way with her. So if a woman has a high body count, it does speak to the level of risk that she's willing to put herself in. And that could be questionable to be like, oh, but she's willing to put herself in risky situations like this. What other risky situations that she might be able to put our relationship in? If this is a behavior pattern, that's where I would say body count matters. Most of the people are talking about, well, whether their body count matters because like they want to have make sure she's pair bondable, whatever.
Right.
A virgin will cheat on you just as quick as a woman that had 1,000 bodies. I'm with you there.
100% true.
But when it comes to the behavior pattern, the characteristics, that speaks more to why body count could matter and should be factored in the decision. If you're going to be willing to take risks, I'm not trying to take some of these risks with you.
I think you and I are actually pretty close on this.
His argument makes no sense. Sleeping with someone doesn't necessarily correlate to any other decision that is risky, quote unquote. Absolutely not. Unless they're having like BDSM, crazy ass sex that, you know what I'm saying, points towards a certain characteristic, then yeah. But if she's had multiple partners, then what? that you're going to put our relationship in risky situations. There's no correlation there. Not one that I see. It just sounds like he's kind of speaking from an extreme talking point that is a red pill thing. And I'm not red pill. Like I said, I'll say what it is. But he's not going to engage in the argument. I don't think. I didn't let him talk, but that's my bet.
I agree with you that personality and character traits is ultimately what matters. But my argument is that there's much better ways to find out if somebody's a risk-taking person than asking them for their body count.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was right. He didn't. He kind of just pointed it towards, oh, I like the fact that you said personalities and how they value the relationship. Well, fucking duh. That's like the generic bullshit that any relationship needs.
You're never going to find out a woman's body count, right?
Well, and it's also just
Arbitrary.
I mean, take her to a fucking theme park and see how many roller coasters she goes on. Like, there's other ways to figure
See
this
if she
out.
gets on the carousel, if she chooses the carousel first, right? No,
right.
I'm with you on that because
Yeah.
I would say, you know what, observe what she can observe, her behavior. How does she treat you? Does she treat you better than anyone else has ever taught you?
100% agree with you. My point, though, and this is where body count is, I think, a bad proxy for what you're talking about, is that people are complicated, man.
Yeah,
People
I'm with you.
change, people grow, people go through phases. Like, some people have like fucked up histories and backgrounds.
Yeah.
I was a fucking mess when I was young. I racked up a huge body count. Now I'm in a very happy marriage. Body count is a weak data source for
Oh yeah, I would say that, and in the grand.
And see, this is where I think I'll wrap up the video and kind of attack this point. He's pretty much saying that body count doesn't matter because in the end, he ended up finding happiness and the past doesn't matter. Kind of like a dude that killed somebody in a gang shooting. He gets out and he makes his life better. And so therefore, your past doesn't matter. Well, you just so happen to find success in a bubble. There are people that straight up aren't going to hire that guy, and they would be right. There are people that are going to look at him weird, and they would be right. That's just the way society is. To say that people are complicated, you're also asking for people to have empathy to that, and that's stupid. Because if you hand out empathy like candy, you're willing to get burned. If you're accepting someone with like a high body count, you're asking to be burned because the past says, I've slept with 9 people before you, and I'm not with them now. And I'm also not going to tell you how many people there were, and I'm also not going to tell you why, or I'm just going to give you my perspective on the matter. And I think my ultimate thing with body count is just, it's the past. People care about the past. People care about what happened before you were there. And I think if you're going to be smart, because women understand body count matters, that's why they won't tell you. And I think if you're going to play that game, then just be very good at hiding it. If you're going to fool me, then fool me good. Because if you tell me the truth, I'm just not going to accept it. I don't care how accepting you want people to be. It's better to just fool people and be really good at it. And don't fool, I mean change, and make sure that your past doesn't reflect, or not your past, make sure that your future doesn't represent what your past was, and try to be a better person from that. You know what I'm saying? Don't represent your past, is what I would say to that. And I'm just going to wrap it up. This dude, he didn't engage in any arguments, kind of just said it's an opinion, said it's a preference. And then at the end, he just says, oh, it's just hindsight bias because I was a mess and I slept with a bunch of people and now I'm fine. So I have no stake in the conversation. I'm just talking about body count, even though I have 0 stakes. I'm not in the dating scene. And also, I had a high body count. So that's why I'm advocating for it. You see how lame it is? This dude is a joke. But yeah, I believe I'm going to wrap up the video and call it an evening. It's pretty late. And I believe we're at 36:29. I'm going to... I think I'll make the last part 3. It'll be this 3rd question. You can check out the Jubilee video. I think I'll link it in the description. I didn't link it in the description last time. I think it just said wait for part 2. But yeah. I appreciate all the people that watched the last video. I appreciate the 2 likes. I even appreciate the comment that I received. Doing these videos, or doing that first video and doing this one, it definitely put some wind in my sails. I really wanted to enter this space. I wanted to be a content creator, or at least try to put work out there. And I really appreciate the fact that it entered the algorithm, and I have content to react to, and I'm able to sit in front of an audience, or at least some people willing to listen. So I think I'll wrap it up here. Like, comment, please comment. If you don't do anything, I'd rather you comment. If you don't like the video, fine. If you're not going to share it, then fine. But I really do want to engage in conversation. And like I said, Discord. If you don't agree with me, I'm down for it. I'll be respectful if you're respectful. And, well, I wouldn't be disrespectful anyway. But, yeah, I think we're going to call it an evening. Thank you, guys. And see you in the next one. Part 3.